are these people?
What's the point of posting this video? It makes no sense. First of all, can Marianne Williamson win? No, she can't.
Well,
that's
the thing.
like not even like, what kind of question is that?
I don't like the question because I know, like, I think Brianna Jerguay is much smarter than that to ask that
she knows
question.
the answer, and I'll show you. It seems like she's changed her mind on Marianne Williamson, and this shocked me because I'm like, oh, so now you get it. Now she suddenly understands that she's not an electable candidate.
Well, yeah, because
but I'm surprised at where this turn came from. Right. Listen to this.
Let's listen to it.
Well, so let's see.
Making sure that people, Granite Staters here, understand her background and all the experience that she brings to the table.
Well, that's a great example, Carlos. I'm glad you brought that up.
If you've been in DC for your whole entire career, that's not experience, and that's actually not what we need. You know, Joe Biden, the only thing he has to bring to the table is the fact that he's been in Congress his whole entire life. Why do we want more of that?
I'm glad you brought up that particular example of we've gotten a little early taste of the strategy that is likely to be deployed against Marianne. The Women of the View last week, or maybe it was the week before, covered her campaign, and Sunny Hostin in particular accused Marianne of having been dismissive of the AIDS crisis, arguing that she didn't, thought that people could self-heal or something like that, in a way that I think pretty egregiously misrepresented her record of offering spiritual support to people who are dying from that crisis and being ignored by the government, generally speaking, as that crisis was ongoing. Strategically, I mean, The View is a huge platform. And given the barriers that we've discussed already to Marianne accessing other kinds of large platforms like a debate stage, what kind of discussions have there been about how to push back against that, especially since so much of left media also is not, frankly, very supportive of Marianne? Much of it is, obviously, but some of it isn't. So strategically,
I think we've done a great job at making sure that these gay people that were directly affected during the AIDS crisis and HIV crisis. I wasn't born during that. I was born in '89, so it was that happened before my time. But what I can tell you is we're putting people in front of Marianne, and we're bringing these people on board, these people that were maybe silent last time when she ran, that are now coming up and speaking up. There's a beautiful video that we just put out of this person giving a testimony about his relationship with Marianne and him living through the AIDS crisis and the influence that Marianne had on him. And the fact that it is not true. Marianne never told any of these people, do not take your medication. That's what we're doing. We're letting voters choose for themselves. You can hear it from The View, which is an entertainment to push back against those lies. Communities for 15 years. People decisions, but that's fine. Voters in New Hampshire are not taking political decisions. You can hear it from living through the AIDS cold. We're letting voters choose for themselves. You can hear it from The View, which is an entertainment source, and you can take it for whatever you want. Or you can take it directly from the person that is being affected or was affected during those times. And that's really, this is the type, we know, Bernie used to say this, the revolution is not going to be televised. And we have learned some valuable lessons from 2020 that we know that the media is not going to give us, at least the CNN and MSNBC is not going to give us a fair shake. But that's fine. Voters in New Hampshire are not taking making political decisions based on CNN, MSNBC, or The View for that matter.
Yeah, they are.
I was gonna say,
no, they are.
This is a good example because, like Brianna Joyce Gray is like, how do you push against that? And it's like, you can't. That's kind of like the point where someone like me is coming from. You can't fight the mainstream media apparatus. If they want to promote or smear a candidate, they're gonna do so, and there's no way to go against that other than yes, independent media like YouTube and whatever these platforms, even despite all the censorship and stuff, has been very helpful. But who's watching The View? People like my mom watch The View all day. So when they see somebody
people who
vote. So these boomers who watch The View and don't know any better, they hear shit talking about Marianne Williamson, which fine, but it's definitely unfair, and there's nothing to be done about that because we saw how hard it was. Like Bernie's just a good example of how difficult it was for him to be on TV at all during his campaigns. Like he was hardly ever on TV.
Yeah, and like partially the smears actually like helped him to some degree. Well, at least like get like some more coverage because he was popular on the ground, and that's mostly because of his previous time as a senator.
Mm-hmm.
But they really want to pretend that she's a Bernie 2.0, and she's just not. She's really
she's just like not like. Well, let's think about it. Is she really like? I don't know, because I don't think she has any political acumen.
I don't think
whatsoever.
I don't even. Like,
here's the thing: is that
like comparing like at all, because it's really not even.
I don't think the difference is that like if Bernie or Marianne were president right now, they would both legislate exactly the same. That's like kind of where I'm at with that. Like, maybe they'd have like small differences, but like we need to look at their previous history. Like we know Marianne, we've done streams on it where she's like, I don't think she's very intelligent. She hasn't any idea what she can talk about.
No, they'll talk about like people have problems with her foreign policy.
Yeah, her foreign policy is terrible. Bernie's foreign policy isn't good.
Yeah,
like he was controlled by a deep state too. So like yes, like it's a really I think a pathetic attempt for the establishment to try and prop up Marianne as in this weird way as like a Bernie replacement, when so clearly she's not Bernie and is just like a face to put behind that kind of fake socialist message.
Yeah, and like that's like pretty much like the parody of like the Electable president thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's a parody.
That's basically what it is. It's basically like if I decided to run for president yesterday, which I did, and my friends like started hyping me up for it. That's exactly what's happening with Marianne. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Same exact fucking thing. If I announced on Twitter one day and I was just like, I'm running for president, let's say I had like a couple and then I had a couple like other friends come hype and like back me up, and they're like, yeah, crap for president. That's basically what's happening right now. They want you to think it's that serious. They really want you to think it's that serious.
It's just it's. I just want to say it's kind of like a Pied Piper strategy again. It's the same thing they did.
Oh yeah.
Because nobody thinks that I guess we'll get to it, but nobody thinks that she's really going to win. I don't think anybody thinks she's really going to win.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
With the politicians that are coming here and the people that they're listening to, people like myself that have been working in these communities for 15 years, people like other people that work in our campaign that have been in the state for 20 plus years working in politics, that have been, I was in AmeriCorps for 3 years. My opinion has probably a lot more weight in the state than probably the View will have. And so we're going to do everything possible to push back against those lies. And we have no problem confronting whatever it is and making sure that we talk. I think the difference between last time Marianne and this time is that she has a team that is not afraid to.
Is this guy one of her campaign?
Also in the trenches and in power, that is able to say, "Hey, wait a second, this is not true."
Man.
It's like what Brianna was for freaking Bernie
this time around. She's not willing to just sit there and take the punch. She's going to punch back and say, hey, that's not true, and here are the facts. And we're going to bring receipts to the table, and we would love to debate Biden because we will make the case at the stage.
They're definitely
and I think that's partly another reason why they don't want to debate Marianne. She's going to bring the receipts to the table, and we have no problem. And we have so many people, even that political article that came out, which I thought was a low blow.
Oh yeah, here now they're going to talk about it. Now they're going to talk about it.
We have tons of staff speaking up saying they loved working with Marianne. They still love working with Marianne. I've had a couple of people call me and say the same thing. They're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm perfectly fine." She is like any other boss. She tells me what I need to do, but I also tell her, "Hey, this is what we need on the ground." We have a great time on the campaign trail. The energy's there. We're enjoying the campaign. And I have so many voters coming out. We had voters last time she was here during a snowstorm. There was a state warning that there was going to be this giant blizzard coming, and people still came out. We had people that didn't agree with Marianne show up. And still the level of civility and conversation that happened in that room is admirable, and it's what the American public is ready for.
Well, let me ask you about skepticism. Let me ask you about that, guys. Since you brought it
She
up,
finally gets
for those who don't know, there was a political article.
She was pushing her for like weeks.
Well, I thought they were buddies.
Finally getting it. She finally it took her weeks, and now she's getting it.
Last week,
come to Jesus
titled
moment.
Marianne Williamson's abusive, in quotation marks, treatment of 2020 campaign staff revealed. In it interviewed 12 people, I'm reading from it now, who worked with Williamson during her 2020 presidential campaign, paint a picture of a boss who can be verbally and emotionally abusive. A staffer said, quote, "It would be foaming, spitting, uncontrollable rage." I mean, what is your guys' reaction to that story? Do you know anything about the sources and what's going on there?
Yeah, one of the sources that spoke up happens to be somebody from New Hampshire, and I don't want to really get too much into details. This is somebody that I actually admire and have a lot of respect for. And I'm not here to question victims. You know, I'm always about believing victims, whatever they say. But that said, just those comments alone, would we say that about somebody like Joe Biden? Would we say that about Barack Obama?
Now, what does this sound like to you?
It's whataboutism. It's just bullshit.
No. Remember the AOC stream we did?
Oh yeah.
She's like, does this sound like something I would do?
Something I would say? Yeah, like
this. Come on, guys.
Total
this
gaslighting.
Pure gaslighting. It's at 101. It's like does that sound like something I would? Come on.
It was like when there was a video that's on YouTube of Bush, and he's questioned like, did you have previous information about like 9/11, and he couldn't say, like, so he answered it with a question like that, like, what, you think I would have information on that? That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So when you can't say a statement that's true, you're just like, does that really? What, you think that you think that, like, when someone accuses you of, like, let's say, like, you're stealing.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Like, you're stealing cookies from the cookie jar, and like, what's the first thing you say? It's like,
I stole the cookies.
You think that I stole the cookies from the cookie jar? Of course, you're the one that steals. Like, you know, like it's so obvious. It's so obvious. Yes, Steve, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to, you know, both the Indie News Network as well as my channel.
I mean, this guy's just doing his job. I don't totally.
Oh yeah, he's doing his job.
Like, do I think he really believes everything they're saying? No, I think anybody who could talk to Marianne Williamson face to face for 5 or 10 minutes would be like, this woman's an idiot.
Do you think that article's accurate
about her being a terrible person?
Like a wacko bitch, yeah.
I'm sure she's a terrible person to work with. Right. Like 100%. But like, I also think that everybody has skeletons in their closet, and politicians like go through a lot of effort to hide those things.
Yeah, they have some dirty stuff.
Somebody like Marianne Williamson, who's like a little like wet behind the ears and hasn't been in politics and doesn't have that kind of like mindset to cover up her tracks, it's like really easy for them to like dig up shit on her, you know? Like who was the other, was like Cori Bush, or no, it was Presley, who like also had a bunch of like bad press about like people she worked, like the staffers she worked with.
Oh, I'd imagine.
So like, no, that doesn't surprise me at all. But like these people, like Marianne Williamson is in the position where she doesn't have that background to be able to cover her tracks. She hasn't, like, I'm sure she hasn't paid for freaking people to like scrub her fucking social media and scrub her freaking, you know, background, go through freaking news articles of her, stuff like that. Like, I don't think she has the resources to do that like some of these politicians do. Like,
yeah, you also can't like hide people like coming out with like information like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like they speared Bernie too. I'm not gonna like make that defense of her. I'm just saying like, the accuracy of the article. I mean, if you actually read it, they say like pretty specific information. Like she would make events and then cancel them at the very last minute, and then blame it on her staffers and get angry at them.
The thing is,
that sounds like something she would do.
Her being a crappy boss is like doesn't make the like top 5, top 10 things to like not vote for her for.
Oh yeah, I know. I know.
So it's just another thing for like the people who watch The View, for instance, who don't know any better, they're like, she's a meanie, blah 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 blah. Like, I don't know.
Just wait until she makes a subtle transgender joke.
Oh my god,
be done.
We would never say that about a male figure. So those words they use as a man, I'm actually offended for women in this country that this is how we speak of.
I mean, so Carla,
like that's how they do. Like of course, that's like it's
make it about
a woman thing. Nothing. It has
thing.
nothing to do with how.
Like as soon as they bring out the identity politics,
what's going on there?
Yeah, one of the sources that spoke up actually admire and have electums, whatever they say. But that said, just those comments alone, would we say that about somebody like Joe Biden? Would we say that about Barack Obama? We would never say that about a male figure. So, those words that they use as a man, I'm actually offended for women in this country.
This guy's like liberal brained anyway.
I definitely think that we have seen on video Joe Biden behave in ways that I would describe as foaming, spitting rage. Like we saw him jab his finger in the chest of that was it some kind of like plant in the 2020 race and antagonizing this guy in a hard hat. We've seen him say "listen, fat" and challenge one of his critics to push-ups because he got so angry. We know that he's had a number of Me Too allegations made against him, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I would also say that some people are gonna think, well, even if we wouldn't hold a man accountable for behaving badly, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't hold women accountable for behaving badly. So, I mean, what do you say to people who have some concerns about this?
I mean, I'm a younger generation where I don't see gender, I don't see color, I don't see sexual orientation. I treat everybody how they treat me, and I can only speak to my experience. I am not here to discredit any of the victims. I don't believe in doing that. I think that's when they go low.
I hate when this is like he sounds like Brana.
I would never work for somebody that doesn't treat me well. And two, I would never leave my children with somebody I don't trust. And I have to tell you this quick story. Last year, Marianne came here. It was around my daughter's birthday. My mom was not feeling good. I had to bring my daughter with us on the trail.
He hasn't just committed to going bald yet.
I said,
they have to get to the
spirit. I love kids.
Hold on, guys. We have to get to the spiritual Buddha part where we have to like paint her as some like spiritual like mother goddess figure. She's like Mother Nature to these people.
I left Marianne and my daughter for quite some time together while I was organizing the event. And they had such a good time, beautiful moments. I saw
look at her face. Look at Bree's face.
Nah,
I wish I could.
Nah, you're just gaslighting.
She's just like, okay, all right.
Spinning.
They were reading books on the floor together. I have the pictures, and I just couldn't believe
she gets
it.
Dude, George Bush was like reading a book when 9/11 happened to school children.
That had personal experiences with Marianne for a very long time, including somebody who was a roommate for many years, and she had nothing but amazing stories to tell about Marianne.
See, and here's another thing is like they always do these stupid anecdotes. Like there is no way in hell anybody can fact check this freaking guy of whether there ever was a roommate. No one's ever gonna go.
Never.
Like they always have these stupid stories. Oh, remember that one time where that thing happened and that lady was like really appreciative of Marianne Williamson and everything she did. Yeah, you're never. Oh, there's no articles about it.
She cured my children. She made my kids. She cured blindness.
Yeah.
Cured my blindness. She turned my water into wine.
Just ridiculous.
August of last year, before
I can't believe this Marianne figure.
That it was just strictly political.
So heavenly,
but I've gotten to know her on a personal level, and I have to tell you, she's inspiring. She has challenged me when I needed. I'm not a perfect person. I'm 33 years old. I'm still learning.
Yeah, Zeb, we think he's like the campaign coordinator or something.
As a gay man, as an indigenous Hispanic here in the state of New Hampshire,
yeah,
that is all I can
he's
hope
either
for
like
a
a representative,
make me a better person.
Or,
so again, I can't attest to what experiences those people went through. But out of hundreds of people that I've spoken to that have had a personal experience with Marianne, and including my own personal experience,
total lies.
Discredit my own experience for something that maybe somebody else is speaking to, and the fact.
Can I just ask, like, how come like his personal experience, it's fine. Perfectly fine. But when it comes to like other people's personal experiences that are negative,
I mean, and that's exactly what he's doing.
It's automatically false. It's like this like blows my brain. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about?
Well, it's kind of like when somebody non-apologizes, like, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like, I'm sorry you feel that way, that you believe this article where a bunch of credible people came forward and said that Marianne was a terrible person. I'm going to fabricate this story, and I'm going to like waste your time by making up this complete fabrication about how wonderful she was. So hopefully you forget about that other stuff.
Yeah, like this is like what they did with Obama. They put him on TV and they made him look like he was like this like superhero.
Mm-hmm. And this is like, I mean, I guess the guy's good at his job. I guess we'll see.
I guess that's what politics is. Like, you just have to fucking star fuck and idolize people until they become president. I don't know.
So Gamer, you can put that one up there. Like, I think Bree has these kind of people on because she's entrenched in electoralism. And that's kind of like what we're getting at, where like we feel like she's starting to wake up and she's kind of buddies with Marianne. So I think she's kind of like trying to prop up Marianne a little bit, but like we're hoping that she doesn't. She's kind of like seeing through the bullshit. And like they were talking earlier about like The View, and I think she might be getting a little disillusioned in thinking that like somebody like Marianne has like any opportunity of like having any sort of positive coverage, or if she's just like, I kind of think she's just a Pied Piper anyway. She's just there to kind of take up a seat.
Confusing me. Like, this is such a 180 for her. She was pushing her for weeks before this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like I'm genuinely confused. Where is this coming from? But the look on her face. The look on her face.
I mean, maybe people like us are blowing up her freaking comment sections and being like, wake the fuck up.
She's a lawyer. She's smart. She gets it. I think most of this is about access, but we can talk about that another time.
Yeah. You know, although at the end of the day, until like, I still think she has like really good takes, like 99% of the time. So like,
yeah, she has really good takes, but at the end of the day, she wants a job.
She's good at it though. So
she's good at it. She's a lawyer. She's good at what she does. she plays her role well, and I'm not blaming her. I think she's a good figure. I think I like Brie a lot, actually. I just think that she can fall into these.
It's like we talk about all the time. Everybody has their lanes.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, everybody's got their. You know, we were talking about. You know, even like Jimmy's got his like skeletons. You know, there's people. You know, everyone has their shadow. I mean, even Jimmy talks about the Carl Jung shadow thing.
Right. Yeah.
There's always like the bad aspects of your, and you can't really escape that. That's like now something that.
Yeah, I've heard him talk about that on his show too. I just don't know that much about it, but
yeah, me neither. I read a little bit.
Why are they talking about this now? Why didn't it come out when she was running last time? You know, why didn't they do this when she dropped out last time and said, hey, good riddance, she dropped out, you know? So those are things that I'm really, you know, she's a Jewish woman running for president.
Oh, stop. Come on.
Of course. Not only is it misogynist. Of course. So hold on. We've got
you're an anti-Semite if you don't like Marianne Williamson, as we just said.
It's fake. Not only is it fake, it's misogynist. And it's also anti-Semitic at the same time. Those three things. That's his response to this article. It's fake.
I mean, like,
it's anti-Semitic.
I mean, is he outright saying like you're a Jew hater if you don't like Marianne Williamson? That's kind of what he's saying there. That's kind of what he's saying there.
In a state where anti-Semitism happens every day, I mean, I'm too familiar with what this is.